looks like for Love Island Game Season 2, they're switching things up. The budget has gone up. And I think they want to try and up the ante from last year, get all the views, because Love Island, especially the US franchise, has become so popular. I think they want to make it as popular as the mainstream season, and that's why they've come in with all of these new tricks. Personally, I really like the format from season 1. I would have liked if they kept it. I'm not too sure about the new twists and tricks that they're putting in season 2, but we're just on the first episode, so I'm gonna see how it plays out. First thing, the money has been more than doubled. So usually it's 100k split. Now it's 120. Now it's 250k split. Now that's going to be interesting because, of course, now people are going to be more money motivated. I think what I like about Love Island Games is that people are a lot more honest about just being on the show for clout and money. Obviously, it's the money that they're going to win, but I think by extension, clout, right? They want the clout, they want the brand deals, they want money, and people are more honest about it. And it's not necessarily completely taboo that people are doing the game for money and are being strategic, right? We did still have romance though, but I did like how, people were more strategic and it wasn't this big secret that people were trying to tiptoe around, right? 250k, obviously that's going to motivate people to be strategic in the game. But now, what about when it comes to the final split? 250k is more tempting to steal, right? It would be absolutely shameless, but I think it's a good amount to be people could be I get it, I understand. 50k split 50, that is, on a good day, that's what an influencer could get for a brand deal, right? Coming out of Love Island, right? If they did well enough on the show, a 50k brand deal is within reach, right? So there is low incentive to steal 50k from somebody and just look like a greedy bitch, right? And get all of this hate online and ruin your brand. But 125k to steal. That's life-changing money. I could cop online hate for 125k. I absolutely could. But and we have to also remember that a lot of these people coming back on Love Island Games are low-key washed up, right? Just about scraping the barrel with these brand deals. There's only a couple of them that are, being able to live off the brand deals consistently. I mean, KK herself said she's gone back to nursing, right? A lot of these Love Islanders are coming out to be I had to go back to my 9 to 5, right? The ones that, weren't on hit seasons, right? Oh, there's only really a handful of them that are able to sustain themselves. If they weren't an influencer before, that are able to sustain themselves comfortably as influencers, right? So 125k, a lot of them ain't going to be seeing that. So 125k to steal, absolutely. I think we're finally going to get a steal this season because 125k, that is too tempting to steal. Unless they really have a genuine connection, there was romance there. But if it was just kind of we're good friends, sorry, I would be stealing that money. I would be stealing the money. But I'm gonna hear from you guys. What if you were on the show, you get to the end, you win it, right? This is your friend. You've made good friends with this person. They've done a lot of work, right? But you had the opportunity to steal the money. Would you do it? And it's a thing where it's split or steal, right? It's not in the show where they have the piece of paper, somebody has steal or split on it. Somebody has the money and they have to decide whether they want to share it or not. Or is it? Yeah, it is the same because Justine had it last season and she decided to share it. And even in that season, people were telling her to keep the money for herself. But 125k. No, and I'm not gonna really see any of you guys again. I'm just gonna have to be that greedy villain. I'm gonna have to be that. I'm a greedy villain anyway in a lot of people's lives. What's 125k more? But anyway, like I was saying, I think when it gets to actually splitting the money, it's gonna be very, very interesting. Another lifeline which I don't necessarily agree with, and that is public votes. I thought it was quite refreshing that it was purely based off of physical. It's called Love Island Games, right? We should be rewarding physical strength, right? How good people do in the challenges. And I think that made it better entertaining, that people were thinking about themselves rather than public perception. So basically, they're basically saying, for the people that are here for love, you guys are going to have a lifeline because the public are going to vote to keep in which couple that they like the most. So incentivizing romantic or seemingly romantic relationships. Like I said, I don't necessarily agree with this. I don't know how it's going to work. I personally don't think the public should be involved. But we'll see how it goes, right? It could be a great addition. Right now, I'm not entirely on board with that. But I got to hear from you guys. Are you here for there being a public vote in the Love Island Games, or do you feel like it's better without? And a second twist is we have this whole heartbreaker thing, which I guess is the replacement for bombshells. So we don't get traditional bombshells anymore. We now have heartbreakers, and they basically come in, they steal whoever they want, and then the person who is left in that couple is basically fighting for their life. And I'm guessing they're going to have to do some sort of challenge or a duel to get them out of vulnerability. And then the person who is now left in the final vulnerability spot either gets kicked off or there's going to be a recoupling or something. I don't know. This is the first time we're going to see it play out, but when I was hearing the rules and the stipulations, I was like, I'm not really sure if this is going to work or not. I'm not really sure about this. I would personally prefer people to go out with recouplings, or public vote if we're going to have one, rather than this whole heartbreaker thing. But I'm open to seeing it in action. It could be a new addition. I'm not necessarily on board with it now. I'm just waiting to see whether it works or not. But I gotta hear from you guys. Do you like the idea of this heartbreaker thing? Do you not? And what do you think about it? I think with the budget increases, of course, they're going to try new things. I mean, we'll see if it pays off or not. I gotta hear what you guys think about these new rules and stipulations. And if you had the 250k, would you split the money? I gotta hear from you guys.